Welcome again, everyone. Jerry's Old Guy Review. There was a hair. To another review. And like the last review, we're going to be a little different this time. We are going to start with, this is the Rc4wd drive Scottsdale 20. We're going to get to that in a minute. I'm blown away. And we're going to start with the fact that I currently have two Rc4wd drives. I had three. I got rid of that one. And this, I wasn't really in the mood for the Rc4wd drives. You know, just because, not saying my OG I love. It is OG. It is the first TF2 that came out as a kit. Have had it long enough that it has a totally new facelift. But in between that time, I got the Gelande. Totally different animal, but still nice product. Then I got the TF2 Ultimate, which had all the bells and whistles for $7.99. Now, this was years ago, $7.99 money. When I got that truck, not super skilled with hadn't met Dungeon yet, not super skilled with it, took it out a few times a year, and was just not blown away by what I paid for it, what it did, and what I added to it. Now this, right here, for what you get, I'm just going to do a quick recant to the $7.99 one I bought. It had the metal engine cover that went over the electric motor. But had to buy that separately. No, that came with the motor. But it didn't have the dress-up kit. So I had to buy that. It did not have the fender liners, which took away from having an engine in the engine bay. So I had to get those. Didn't have a light kit. You know me, I've got to have lights. So got the light kit. That was on top of the price. $7.99. This truck for $5.89 comes with all these extra doodads that don't come on the standard Scottsdale, which I'm assuming, because I don't have that original one, is a Scottsdale 10. Rc4wd drives this box with a picture of this truck all over it with all the new features on it, still calls it a Scottsdale 10. The box says Scottsdale 20 on it in the emblem. But meanwhile, it says it comes with a Chevy K10 Scottsdale hard body. Well, this is the K20, which gives it away by the fact that the wheels have 8 lug nuts on it. Now, just real quick, so here are the new features on this truck. The roll bar with light pods. The push bar with light pods. The 80s style grille. We're just going to pause for a minute because, that's another thing I got for the Blazer was the push bumper, which was just a small front section. And I've already started because as the rumor mills were afoot, this was a replica of a certain famous truck, which it's not. And, you know, I did stir it up a little bit on Let It Fly. There are parts that are reminiscent, but this is not the sticker on the hood, reminiscent of the movie truck. The paint job, reminiscent of the movie truck. That's about where it ends. The front push bumper is different. It's a Chevy, not a GMC. The roll bar's sort of similar. I still can't wrap my mind around RC four-wheel drive version of a long bed compared to my OG. That this isn't really that long, but still, here nor there. Now, I'm going to stop right there and say, I've got you to this point. If you are a die-hard RC four-wheel drive lover about the scale is perfect, I'm not going to totally agree with you on that one. If you are a hater and RC four-wheel drive does everything wrong, I'm not going to agree with you either. We are going to go over a little bit of this stuff on here, but for $589, this truck called to me. Didn't need it. Thought I was pretty much done with RC four-wheel drive trucks, but I had heard through the grapevine before the truck came out that RC four-wheel drive was going to be releasing a truck that addressed some of the TF2 issues. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Leafs are very nice. I mean, this is reminiscent of my OG that's already broken in. I'm going to tell you that driving this truck at sub-zero temperatures, -3 to be exact, the leaf springs are soft enough that they started getting cold and actually got hard. So that's the first time I've had the Leafs react to the temperature. Now, unlike normal videos, review videos, this is not straight out of the box. I've had this for a week. I have driven it. I have started to detail stuff up on it, which we're going to cover. Let's cover that first. The things that come in the box. Now, I know some manufacturers that sell trucks for, I don't know, $649. And they don't come with any of these extra doodads if the truck doesn't already come with them. So here are the inner fender liners I haven't put in yet. So these are beefier than the OG ones that I got with the Ultimate truck, or the ones for it. They were straight up Lexan that I had to cut out. These are definitely thicker. You get, because it comes with another thing that I had to buy, the RC four-wheel drive, the hub covers, or the hubs. It comes with both tools to take off fronts and rears. You got extra bolts and a tool with the roll bar stuff. You got that rear. I'm gonna try to show you that those rear pegs for the rear body. With the electronics box and the way this truck is with the depth of the bed, it rides right on there. So I don't think you really need those pegs. So RC four-wheel drive didn't need to put the holes in. Extra leaves. What is going on over here? Yowie, what are you chewing on? You get the sticker kit, which I'm going to cover some issues with stickers. And of course, you got the nice owner's book that has all the breakdowns that you need to play with your truck. Well, not really. Yeah, it does. Oh, no, it's just to put all the doodads on. Okay. So you better know how to take a TF2 apart if you want to take it apart. Now, there, we got that out of the way. We showed you the dealios. Now, let's go into, like when I mentioned on Friday about a big YouTuber that thinks putting stickers on is just like having a kit. Oh, you'd hate this one. So you'll notice I put the side stripe on it because with the, the Bear two-tone, I was going to do the red on the top. But as fate would befall me, where is the first one? I took this one off and there's no adhesive on the backside. So can't use that one. This is the one that goes along the bed, wraps around the back. So guess we're not using that one. But you can do a whole wood dash. I don't understand. I guess if you want to take the metal emblems off, you can do that. And then you can just put stickers on. But let me bring up to the metal emblems. So we're just going to bounce around. So come on, Rc4wheel drive. Let's not make the emblems both the same. This should be backwards where this big area is. Come on. This truck comes, compared to the Scottsdale, the 10 that came out, you've got the push bar. You've got the front and rear bumpers are new. The step bars are new. The mirrors are actually not gargantuan. They are the correct size. Still perfectly functional like the OEs do. The roll bar. And I'm sure that the other Scottsdale has it, but this one has, see if I can do this with the gimbal today. It's got the complete engine bay with the dress-up kit. Oh, heat. So one of my biggest kicks in the ass about this. So I painted the air. Wow, I'm gonna have a brain fart. For car guys, it's so you can adjust your throttle. It's just one of your vacuum lines. So did the top of the radiator. It comes with a battery with all the emblems, all the writing on it. It's actually, if you use a magnifying glass, it's an Interstate. I just painted the leads on the battery. And you've got master cylinders, you've got what is that? Washer, squirter, your windshield wiper motor. It's just nice. Upper radiator hose that goes into this molded radiator. I didn't see if that... No, there's no fan in there. It's got an alternator in it that actually has a little rubber belt on it. I'm going to take that off. Maybe do it up like a Wilson. But this is nice. You've got your... This is kind of silly because these go in like it's a heater core. You got one line that's kind of okay, but the one that runs right to the radiator is a little bit silly. Unlike the Ultimate, this one... Well, why did you go over there? My Ultimate had the metal hinges on it, and they did not hold the hood up all the time. You had to crank it. What is up with you, gimbal? It must be I must be pushing something. Oh, maybe it is. That other Blazer I had did not stay up. Also, oh, I forgot. You have got an AC Delco line on the air box, air cleaner, that says to only use AC Delco stuff. And then you've got the actual on the side. You actually have the information. I think it says 79 on it, but it is so small. Even with my magnifying glass. Oh, there's another one next to the squirter pump. There's another label in there. Get your magnifying glasses out. Have a kick in the ass from RC four-wheel drive, because that right there is something cool that the Ultimate never had. That, you know, how often am I going to lift up the hood? Not a lot, but I know it's there. So, being that I'm making this my own, we took off the scale department front license plate, put the Chevy, the big old bow tie that I've always had on all of my Chevys. I made all the lights are now KC lights. They say there's a light kit that they're going to have just for this, so I'll have to pick that up. Let me see, I arranged it. You know, the retro style lights are awesome. And you've even got your turn signal or your marker lights in here. Kind of, sort of, can you see them? They're behind that fog light. So you got headlights, marker lights. We're going to definitely have to have the headlights or the other lights, the roll bar and the push bar. Now, the tail lights are a little bit, that's RC four-wheel drive for you, but a little bit hokey. Oh, took off the scale department. RC four-wheel drive, it'd be nice if all of your license plates didn't say California on them. But got a retro one, looks kind of rusty and beat up, like he just refurbished his truck and he's using his old license plate. So now, let's get to the things that I know about. And not overly thrilled with the cab. I would have figured by now they would have flattened this cab out, but you know what? Why bother if you've got the mold? But the cab should be a little flatter. I actually put chrome on the rain rail, or whatever they call those, and instead of doing it as far as they did it, I do it like it was on the real truck. Did the keyholes, these stickers, RC four-wheel drive, you need to start making stickers a little bit thicker. The license plate, or the gas door, I put the sticker on and then I went around it with an X-Acto knife, and it looks like I cut it with a weed whacker. So they're so thin, even a sharp X-Acto knife doesn't quite do it. The rear bumper, it's cool to have a new bumper with a tow dealio on it, but it's a little bit cartoonish to me. It just seems like it's way bigger than it should be. I don't know. What do you guys think? Doesn't it seem kind of big? But you know what? Not gonna complain. You know, I just threw the bumper on and everything works. So, we're gonna do a little bit of a texture, and we're not gonna go up on the side rails. We're gonna do like the old school ones that are just kind of inside. The tires. So, Dick CPEC. When I was a kid, you always saw them just with his name on it. So, Fun Country just seemed a little weird. I thought it would make it kind of look cartoonish. So, those wheels with just Dick's name on it, and some good old chrome wagon wheels with 8 lugs per a 20. I don't know what, wait a minute, what are those? For you RC four-wheel drive guys, what is the X-ring technology in the shocks. Does that help with rebound if you don't use the springs? I don't know. Everything else underneath is plain RC four-wheel drive fare. You know, I still wish they would have smoothed out that center cover a little bit. You've got the Dana 44s. I think that's what's on this. Dana 44 axles. Standard fare. I got to take all the zip ties off because they left them all pointed down and just cut them off. A little bit lazy. I want them up out of the way so you don't see a zip tie sticking down. I did do a little dealio. Let's see if we can do this. So Rc4wd mentioned this about the short front shocks. Now he went with put new shock mounts on it. I just went with, because the servo, let me try. The servo hit the front axle on the top. I just raised it up a little bit. And now it just comes to the bottom of the shocks. Just so I wouldn't see that, because it was, as I was taking it out of the box and messing with the geometry, I noticed it was just bang, 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 bang. But all I can say is when I got the email from RC4wd Drive about their new release, I looked through it. I love the color of it because this is the kind of truck right here that if you were lucky enough, you got from your grandpa, but it was all stock and you did this to it. And I took RC4wd Drive's word for it that this was going to have new stuff on it and it was going to be different than the old one. And I don't have the Scottsdale. I actually don't know anybody that has the Scottsdale. I do know somebody who has a conversion that made it, what was it, from Shrink RC, bought a conversion kit to put it on a Dirty T-Word X4. But so far, even out just in the snow, on my trails, it's fabulous. And it seems like they've got the suspension right. I mean, I'm sure there's people who are going to say, you know, I've already heard it. Everybody comparing it just because they did a few things. Basically, the color and the roll bar and the sticker on the hood are the only things that would point your mind toward the TV show one. This, I feel, just for the fact that it got me to instantly buy an RC4wd Drive again, that you guys are doing something right. You're tweaking things, you're fine-tuning things. Dirty T-Word doesn't do that. They just keep bumping out what they've had. RC4wd Drive keeps, even if every year they come out with something that has 3 things fixed on it, that to me is 3 more than a company that didn't put out anything new this year. So we've got new body colors, all the little effects that on a lot of the stuff, bumpers, emblems, wheels and tires. They only do that when they change it to a different model. If it's not a different model, it's just a different color, it all has the exact same things on it. So kudos, RC4wd Drive, for taking your established platform and doing what a lot of people would want to do to their own truck ahead of time. So that's going to take, you spend $589 on this truck. So you don't have to put a light kit in it. You don't have to buy a bunch of their accessory upgrades. I mean, hell, if you decided you didn't like the color, you just bought a different color and you can use everything from this truck on that one, to include taking off the metal emblems if you want. So, is it a big swing and a miss? Nope. Is it a huge home run? No. Is it enough to get this old cranky bastard to get right on the interwebs and buy an RC four-wheel drive again? Yes. This was enough for me, blew my skirt up. It's my jam. It covers all the bases. So I'm probably not going to do a lot of stuff except for get Dungeon on speed dial to see what kind of things I should do to it right off the bat, or be able to show him, do a little messenger action, show him what new things are on here, because I could have taken the body off and done all of that hubbub. But you know what? If you're watching this video, it's because you're interested in RC four-wheel drive. More than likely, you own an RC four-wheel drive, so you know what I'm talking about under the hood. But lighter springs, these different shocks, those are things that are new for the performance. Yes, I use that word, performance, but not necessarily, world-changing, things that you've been waiting for. Most people who buy RC four-wheel drive are going to spend time tinkering with it. You don't buy RC four-wheel drive to keep it completely stock and just do everything with. This is for scale. This is for scale performance, what your truck in the driveway is most likely going to do out in the road, out on the trails, where you're going to say, I wonder if it can go up that. And then getting as excited as a new kid on Christmas when it does it. If it doesn't do it, you're like, I didn't think so. So let me know in the comments if you want to see more on this truck. Did you like this weird style of reviewing things I'm doing nowadays? Do you hate it? Let me know, and I will talk to you on the next one.